Hi, I'm Tilo Young, and this is Small Jobs. Hi, I'm Tilo, and welcome to the truck. As you know, I posted a video about, it was an atheist who was going around auditing churches and gave a glowing review of the Orthodox church he attended, which was Antiochian Orthodox. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit, about evangelism in the Orthodox way. I think I understand that historically the Coptic Church has been a persecuted church that was rather huddled together and just kind of surviving, and it developed a very deep love and appreciation and clinging to God, and a very deep trust in God, and in the truest sense of trust. The good and the bad, what comes, what doesn't come. We thank Him, we trust Him. Ethos, which I find to be rather unique among the Copts. And in that context, it seems to me, from what I've also experienced in many places, our clergy are largely chosen based on, oh, he loves everybody, oh, he's so sweet, oh, they love him. And I understand in a persecuted church, you really need somebody who's going to comfort and encourage the sheep. I mean, that's the primary goal when you're dealing with a bunch of suffering, bleeding, threatened sheep surrounded by wolves. But I think that today here in the West, and to be honest, from what I gather in Egypt with the evangelicals poaching huge numbers of the young people, maybe that approach isn't the best anymore. Some years ago, my wife and I were invited to do a conference for the Southern Diocese on evangelism. And I'm not sure what they were expecting. Maybe, hey, these people who came from an evangelical megachurch have these great programs and strategies and sort of events that they know how to plan to attract and evangelize, and we didn't come with any of that. What we came with was, first of all, understanding that it's the Holy Spirit that draws people in. And then there's the free will of the person that is being drawn. And then there's you doing your evangelistic work. And of those three components, you are far and away the least significant, far and away the least impacting. And so to always keep that in mind first, you're not a salesman out there to close a deal, but rather the best way to evangelize for the Orthodox is to live the faith and to uphold the faith in practice in a very sober and intelligent and serious way, and to learn about the faith, to really understand the apologetics, the theology, to be able to answer the questions that others may have. And then when you just go out in your regular life and you open yourself to relationships with people, you let them know that you're Orthodox, and then it's up to them to inquire more about what you believe. And if they don't, they don't. That's okay. But you have to be ready to answer those questions. And that does require a great deal of study and a great deal of conversation. And it's something that develops over a long period of time. Like, you talk to somebody and they have a question and you really don't know a good answer. And you're like, wow, that's a good question. I'll get back to you. And then you go research it. And if you keep doing that over and over, you find that some questions start popping up very frequently, and now you are able to give some sort of a intelligent answer to that question. So I really think that this idea of trying to make it more appealing or more interesting is literally the opposite road. Because what we have here is a cross. What we have here is an invitation to self-death. And we shouldn't be shocked that that's not going to be a real popular message, and that you aren't going to have people lined up down the street to come and sign up for their own demise. It's a hard road. So I don't even think I should have to say this, but trying to imitate the evangelical world when these guys are professionals at it, trying to mimic their sermons or their programs or whatever, is just utterly ridiculous. Just ridiculous. You will never be as good at it as they are, and that's not the essence of our faith anyway. But there are those in the society who are seeking something deeper and more profound. And when our clergy and our bishops and our people can take this faith with the sobriety and the reverence and the intelligence that it deserves, then the person coming to visit will encounter what this atheist guy encountered at the Antiochian church, which was a very profound, meaningful, serious, and deep group of believers who were very much committed to worshiping God and not real interested in placating the visitor at the time of worship, and not jumping and falling all over themselves to sell him and get a convert trophy. That's not what this is. This is a life of holiness and self-sacrifice that we're inviting somebody into, and we have to be upfront about that. We have to be very clear that this is a hard road, but we have to also be able to offer reasons why it's the true road, why this is the way to God. And so it seems to me that the old way of just finding the sweetest and kindest among us for our clergy may not be the best choice these days. And certainly trying to mimic popular evangelicalism is just, it's a clown show, because Copts trying to do that, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous when you come from that world and you've seen the real thing. You've seen those dynamic speakers and the real ones, and then you see, the Coptic imitation of them. It's just pathetic. So you're not going to attract any Americans, because they've already experienced the real deal, the top quality, and you're trying to sell them on the Temu version. It ain't gonna work. So I really just wanted to kind of take that moment and talk about a shift in thinking toward concentrating on our orthodoxy and doing it well, not doing it sloppily and carelessly, but in the liturgy, everybody being sober and trying to do their job very well, trying to do their part very well, having a sobriety and a seriousness about the liturgy, not to the point of being fixated on the rigidity, because I've seen that in an Antiochian church before, where you knew you were in God's house and you knew you were in a holy place, but it didn't feel like your house. It lacked the warmth that I sense in a Coptic parish. And so I think we have that part really right. It's a familiar, warm home. But we could tighten up our game a lot as far as becoming better at what we're doing and more serious about the work of the people that we're doing in the worship. So I hope this falls on some ears and somebody gets what I'm talking about. I know that my American friends, and I have quite a few who've converted to the various branches of Orthodoxy, are pretty much going to tell you exactly what I'm saying, and they're going to identify with this take on the proper way to evangelize, which ironically isn't even really trying to evangelize. It's becoming knowledgeable and offering something to somebody, but they have to come and want it. I myself have kind of developed this movement where if somebody's inquiring, I'll answer their questions as much as they want, and then I'll direct them to something to read, to watch, to go learn more. And then if they ask me something else, I'll say, well, what did you think about that? And if they're not willing to invest the time and they're just kind of curious about something, I'm going to really limit my time that I'm going to invest in that. I have unlimited time, unlimited, for somebody who's a serious inquirer into the faith. But as far as somebody who's just kind of curious about this cool thing or that cool thing, I mean, great, I'll direct them to where to go watch it, but my time isn't going to be unlimited. I have other things to tend to. But the Holy Spirit is there, and we can't forget that. The Holy Spirit will guide us into all truth, and it will guide them into all truth as well. And it's their will that is going to play the predominant role, along with the Holy Spirit. And we are the least part of that equation. So I hope this has been of some value to somebody, and I'm almost where I'm going. So God be with you, and I'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Tilo Young, and this is Small Jobs.